Madison Square Garden in New York City. You're watching the great New York Super Fights. We are having an evening of full contact karate coming up, and we're taking it through the evolutionary stages. We've just had a demonstration about how it all starts, and we're moving to the next step, Joe Corley, and we would now have what we call a point fight. And how would we score on this one?
Well, the point fight that we'll see here is featuring two of the top point fighters in the history of the sport. Our house announcer, Larry Black, is introducing William Oliver of New York City. He's won virtually every New York City tournament title, every tournament title in the northeast section of the United States, and is a fine, fine technician. There in the center we see our referee, J.T. Will from Columbus, Ohio.
Who's going to argue with him?
Not me.
Is he a former point contract karate fighter?
And you can see the response that William Oliver gets here in New York City. Very, very popular young fighter. Fine gentleman.
Now, actually, what the folks are seeing here now is unlike what we saw in the way of karate, the demonstration. We're seeing actually a combination of karate and fighting, boxing.
That's right. He's got foam pads on his hands. These are the kind of foam pads that you wear in the karate schools to keep the injury rate down.
The #1 point fighter in the
now
United
getting ready
States.
to introduce Keith Vitali, #1 point fighter in the United
Atlanta
States.
Journal has called karate's Bjorn Borg. Keith Vitali.
Now, how do young people get started in this? You know, this is something that's going on, all obviously proliferating and doing well here in the United States. You tell me there are about 1,000 fighters, 500 amateur, 500 professional, approximately. How does this all get started? We don't hear that much about it.
Well, that's in the full contact karate that we're talking about 500 and 1,000. In this point karate here, there are tournaments every weekend with 1,000 contestants in them. Probably 3 in the United States held every weekend, and there are probably another 200 held that same weekend that average 200 contestants. There are some 8 million karate students now believed to be practicing karate around the United States.
All right, the yet a bit of the game, and they greet each other, and now we get underway.
Vitali opens up with a strong skip side kick.
Now, like the full contact karate that we're going to be seeing, do they have to kick a minimum of 8 times in each round in this particular card that we have here?
No, they don't. But what you'll find here is the kicks are a lot flashier in the point karate because the consequences are not as great if you miss a kick because your opponent's not coming back after you full power. I expected to see this be the best strategic fight we've seen in point karate. That was a skipping heel kick that Vitali did, then a very spectacular kick. Hard to see it even with the speed and regular motion that we have. Oliver is a very, very cagey fighter. If you get off balance, you see he gets right back on you. Nice back leg round kick by Oliver. Vitali blocked it with his left forearm.
Now, how will they be scoring this?
You have 5 judges, the center referee, and 4 judges at ringside. The majority of the judges that see the technique will determine whether or not a point is scored, and whoever has the most points at the end of 2 rounds is called the winner.
Now, underneath those pads on the feet, they do not have shoes. Those are just pads covering bare feet, correct?
That's right, covering the tops of the feet, not the bottom. Neither man has opened up yet. Vitali with a double kick.
Vitali very aggressive, very aggressive.
Front hand back fist in by Vitali.
A red flag has been raised, Joe. I don't mean to interrupt you, but what does that mean?
1 point for Vitali. 3 judges with the flags up. That meant obviously that he got a point. Oliver then closed in with a punch of his own, 1-1.
So they raise the flag, indicating the color outfits the fellas are wearing. Red for Vitali and white for Oliver.
That was a side kick, hook kick combination in by Vitali. He did get a point for it just at the bell. So he's ahead 2 points to 1.
Now these are 2-minute rounds. We'll remind our viewers again. And this particular event will be a total of 2 rounds.
2 rounds with a 1-minute rest period in between. Whoever is ahead at the end of that second 2 minutes will be the winner.
The difference between what we're seeing right now and what we move up to in the way of full contact karate is that they fight with gloves and they make full contact. Basically, it's a logical explanation, correct?
That's exactly right. Here we see Vitale moving in, and he uses a side kick that goes into the body, and that's where he got the second point, and he came up with a heel kick, but the heel kick was blocked. Saw Oliver move inside that heel kick. It's much easier to see at that speed.
Both these young men about the same age. Vitale at 28, you're looking at him, and Oliver at 29. Oliver 5'5", 140. Vitale bigger, 5'10", 154. Vitale is mentioned from Atlanta, Georgia, and Oliver a local product from New York City.
This is the first time these two fighters have ever fought. Nice attempted sweep then by Vitale. Looked like Oliver may have used a back fist. There's 2 red flags, 2 white calls. That means that no point would be called. 2 votes for the red, 2 votes for the white. That shows you that the men probably exchanged techniques. Nice front leg round kick by Vitale as Oliver closed in.
Now, Oliver went down on that. Did he get kicked that hard where he would obviously go down as he did?
It may have slipped off his arm, and the force of the kick, have the momentum from the kick knocked him down. 3 white flags, 2 reds. That's a point, Oliver. That scores it. Ties the score 2-2.
2-2 fight. Second round. This is it. It's a 2-rounder. And now they're doing a little taunting act.
If they end in a tie, they go into overtime, and the man with the first point in overtime would win.
This is incredible, the techniques that these fellas use.
They're both such flashy kickers.
They really are.
I've never seen Oliver this inhibited when he fights, but when you fight the #1 guy in the country, you can't use your best stuff.
Well, they make contact. I didn't think that they were going to be making that much contact, but they actually do with the foam padding that they have on their hand.
It's controlled contact. It's pretty stiff, but they pull out. They don't really try to dig it all the way in. Vitale with a front hand back fist. 5 red flags. Vitale with a point, 3-2. Vitale moving inside with a right hand reverse punch then. Oliver was approaching with a hand technique of his own.
And you'll notice, for those of you viewing, that as soon as there is contact made where they would score a point, they stop so that they can see the judges raise their respective flags.
That's right. In the full contact competition, there are no judges with flags at ringside, only judges who score on the 10-point bus system. Vitale wins it 3-2. Excellent fight.
It was an excellent fight. We get a look at the winner. That is Keith Vitale, national point champion in 78, 79, and 80. And incidentally, now starting his second movie as a co-star. And I can understand why. Nice-looking young man. So that is our point fight for the night. We're going to have some more interesting fights coming up as we move into the preliminaries in the full contact karate. And we'll be back with our first lightweight bout.